Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going through a Q&A with you guys, answering your questions all about my most recent trip to Walt Disney World. As we all know, we are currently going through a global pandemic and things have been changing all around the world, but especially at Disney World. There are so many new rules and regulations. Some things are open, some things are still closed. So I gave you guys an opportunity just to ask any question that you have on my Instagram. So if you're not following me on Instagram, I'm also at Medals and Tiaras on Instagram. So definitely add me there. And yeah, so I printed out all of your questions and wow, did you guys have some questions? So there are, oh my goodness, 7 pages of questions. So what I did was I grouped them into a couple different categories. I'm actually just looking at my laptop here. I have all the questions here. And yeah, you guys are really interested in hearing about the airport, just the general safety at Disney, masks, parks, the Riviera, and a couple of other questions. So let's dive right on in. I have a ton of questions here, so definitely bear with me. I've got some water here, so sit back and let's answer your questions. So we'll start with the airport. So you guys are wondering, let's see, your question is about MCO. Are the crowds low? Can you get through quickly? How was Orlando Airport? How was flying with a mask, and what airline did you fly? So flying was super easy. All of the airports were so incredibly empty. It was actually strange walking through the 3 airports that I went through. So I'm flying out of San Francisco. So SFO, I connected in Atlanta and then finally landed in Orlando. So SFO is usually pretty slow anyways. So that was really quiet. We did a red eye. So we left at 11:30 p.m. and we landed in Atlanta at maybe 6 or 7 a.m. in the morning. And then we flew to Orlando and landed there at 10 a.m. And each of those airports were completely dead. There was no one to social distance with. There was no one to really run into. I flew Delta, and the reason is because Delta is not actually selling their middle seats until September 30th. And so that just made me feel even more safe on their planes. They also have videos that show before you take off that show all of their safety procedures and just cleaning procedures. So they have they use the little spray gun thing. And so, and they wipe down all the seats before you get on. And also while you get on the plane, they give you a little hand sanitizer and also a wipe if you want to wipe down your seat yourself. So everything was really safe. We didn't have any problems with people not wearing masks on the plane. My plane was not full at all, not only because the middle seats were not sold, but the plane was not full. So, yeah, so no real issues on the airplane. Sorry guys, my camera died, but so no real issues on the plane. I would suggest flying Delta just because, again, this, they're not selling the middle seats, which I think they're the only airlines not doing that. I could be wrong, but I really did enjoy just having that extra space and it made me feel even safer. So that was the airport. And let's see, moving on, you guys are wondering about safety at Disney, just general safety. So how safe did you really feel? Did you feel most people were compliant with masks and keeping a safe distance? So I actually felt really safe at Disney. I think they're doing a really great job. The cast members are going above and beyond to keep us all safe. And that's in the park, that's for transportation, that is resorts. It's really all of Disney property that I felt really safe. And I felt safe because, again, it is the cast members that are doing a really great job in making sure that people are wearing masks and people, are keeping a safe distance, but also the people that are going to Disney. I was really impressed with the folks that were in the park and also in the resorts. People are making an effort to stay away. So really no issues there. I did not have a time in the park or the resort where I didn't feel safe. I stayed at the Contemporary and also the Riviera, and again, both of those resorts felt really safe. Our room felt and smelled and looked very clean. We did have the remote in the little baggie. In the Contemporary, we did have the individual soaps. I don't know if they normally do that. That was my first time staying there, but we did have the individual ones. And then when I stayed in the Riviera, we did have the shared soap and, shampoo and conditioner and stuff on the wall, but it did have a little plastic thing over the top that did say cleaned. So even if you do have the shared soaps in your resort, then they have been, the handles have been cleaned as well. So I wouldn't worry about that. But yeah, so I felt really safe at Disney, in the parks, also in the resorts. Let's see. Did you ever have moments where you felt unsafe? So I really only had one instance where I felt unsafe, and that was at Disney Springs. So I've heard, a couple of people say this as well, but so I normally just go to Disney Springs for, maybe a dining reservation or World of Disney. In this case, I wanted to go to World of Disney just to get a couple more merch items. And yeah, wow, that was a shocking incident where I walked in. So you get your temperature checked, of course. So once you get into Disney Springs, I don't know if it was just my luck or what, but it was absolutely packed. And making my way from the drop off to World of Disney, I saw a handful of people without masks at all. So not even just pulled down, not even just, your nose out, but no mask at all. And I saw multiple cast members or whoever, maybe they were just general Disney Springs employees, but multiple people that worked at Disney Springs that did not say anything to them at all. So there is some sort of disconnect that's happening between Disney Springs and what's happening at the parks and the resorts. Because again, I felt totally safe at the parks and resorts, but Disney Springs, I couldn't get out of there fast enough. I mean, it was crazy. When I actually went into the World of Disney store, I did not see anyone without a mask. So everyone was wearing a mask in the store, but just walking around Disney Springs, no. I mean, it was packed. No one was social distancing. And again, there were that handful of people in different groups too. It wasn't just like one party that didn't have a mask, different groups that just were not wearing a mask. So couldn't get out of Disney Springs fast enough. And that was really my only unsafe moment while I was there. Let's see. Did you ever feel uncomfortable with crowding in sections? So that was the only time at Disney Springs when there was really a crowd, because there's like not that many people at Disney right now. And so there was some crowds, maybe like getting in and out of places. So like if you were going into an entrance to a ride or, exiting, then there's a little bit of a backup, and then people are also, there's hand sanitizing stations as soon as you exit the ride. So that does create a little bit of a backup because there's a delay when you put your hand under the hand sanitizer. So it just creates like a little bit of a backup, but nothing too crazy. Okay, so now you guys are interested in masks. So, I love this one. Any mask drama? Did you have to wear a mask when laying by the pool? What about running? So no real mask drama besides the Disney Springs incident. And again, I mean, I didn't say anything to them. I was just, I quickly ran past them and then exited. So that was really the only mask drama, but there was really no issue at the parks. There were just a couple, of kids that, would take off the mask, but their parents were very quickly to, tell them to put it back on. And so nothing, out of the ordinary. I actually am very surprised at the amount of kids that were wearing their masks properly and didn't just take it off. And so the kids were doing really, really well in the parks. And so, yeah, so no real mask drama again, besides Disney Springs. Let's see, do you have to wear a mask when laying by the pool? And what about running? So when laying by the pool, you do not need to wear a mask. Getting to like going into the pool, you do, but once you get to the pool, you're sitting in your chair, you do not need to wear a mask. Also, when you're in the pool, you do not need to wear a mask. So we went to the pool while we were at the Riviera, and again saw this. There was no issue with people in the pool, so they have already social distanced the chairs there. So no issue with people being too close. And then also while we were in the pool, people did a really good job of just staying away. And again, it's not that crowded. It's not like a typical Disney trip where you have to sort of like look around for your seat and kind of like fight for your space. It's really not like that. So there was no issue with masks by the pool or just feeling uncomfortable. It actually felt really good, and it gave you like a sense of normalcy just to lay by the pool without a mask and sip your drink and just really enjoy it. So I really enjoyed laying by the pool. Oh, and what about running? So I did go on a run, and actually I did a run outside of the Contemporary, and then I also used the gym in the Riviera. So technically, yes, you do have to wear a mask while running, because you're supposed to wear a mask on Disney property, anywhere you go on Disney property besides inside your hotel room. So technically, yes, you do need to wear a mask. What I did was I brought a medical mask with me, and I put it under my chin because I started running, maybe it was like 7 a.m. or so, and there was literally no one there. So the resort was already very quiet. And then again, just to go running at 7 o'clock in the morning, I saw maybe 3 people. So I had my mask with me. I put it up anytime that I saw someone and just put it down otherwise, because I felt like I was going to suffocate just because of like the humidity. I'm, used to San Francisco 50-degree weather. It was like 90 degrees with like 100% humidity in Florida. So, that's no excuse for not wearing a mask. But if you're literally around no one, then it's fine. But as soon as I saw someone, I put the mask up, and I saw mostly cast members, and they saw me do this, and no one said anything. It didn't seem to be a problem. So take that for what it's worth. But and then in the gym, I did wear a mask. I ran on the treadmill. There was someone in the gym with me, so he was on the bicycle, and so again, social distance, but we both wore a mask, and that was totally fine. I had no issue with that. So let's see. You guys are wondering, how long did you need to go before taking a mask break? So the mask wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. And I think that's partially because of the material that I chose for my masks. So I ordered a bunch of masks on Etsy before I went on my trip, and I really tried to find something that at least looked lighter and just like a little thinner, like obviously not too thin, because you want it to be able to be protective. And I also had one of the filters just in case it was too thin. But the masks that I have for San Francisco are definitely thicker than the ones that I wanted to bring. So I got a bunch of linen masks, and they were amazing. So great. And they really, really kept you just cool, let a little bit of air flow in, so you don't like suffocate. So I really didn't have too much of a problem wearing the mask in the park. Just make sure you put very high SPF sunscreen on your face so you don't get a mask tan. So it didn't really need too many breaks. I really just took breaks when I needed to drink something, just because I was hot. And so whenever you drink water, you do need to pull over. And if you're already pulled over and sitting down somewhere, then you might as well take a longer break. So it wasn't really a mask break that I needed. It was just a hydration break that I needed. And then let's see. Oh, also for the rain and humidity, that I think was like the worst part overall of wearing a mask, just because the humidity is the air is just so thick that, when you're wearing a mask over yourself and you're hot, it's just a double whammy. So we definitely took a break right after the rain stopped, because it was super humid, and just we did not want to, deal with a mask on top of that. So we did take a little bit of break after the rain. Let's see. What mask do you recommend? How many did you take to each park day? So again, just try to find a mask that is made out of like maybe a linen material, just something that's not super thick. And it's hard to explain just because I'm not fully sure what the materials are, but the masks that I really love to wear in San Francisco were the worst choices for the ones that I needed to wear in Florida. So my favorite mask in San Francisco did not work out in Florida. It was too thick. There were too many layers into it, and just the heat did not work with it at all. I was just sweating terribly, and so I had to switch masks immediately. So again, my favorite one was made out of a linen material. So if you can find one that's, a light material, then do that. Make sure that you bring a filter with you just in case it's too thin. You can always add that just to, for extra layer of security. But again, I didn't really feel like I needed it. So definitely just find something that's lightweight. Even use medical masks. So medical masks were really great. I used them mostly for running or for when I knew I was going to need to switch out masks pretty quickly. So medical masks, they worked really well. They're not the cutest, but they work really well, and they work really well in the Florida heat and humidity. And how many did you take to each park day? So I took my Disney masks, so the one, that I bought on Etsy, and then I just brought 2 medical masks just as backup. I think I only needed to change my mask once, and that was because I wore one that I normally wear in San Francisco that was way too thick and I just could not breathe. And so I switched to the medical mask, and then I just have them in case my mask got dirty or I dropped it or it broke or whatever. So, feel free to switch them out as often as you want, but I actually didn't feel the need to switch them out. So you may be different, or, just definitely have a backup just in case, because my husband's mask actually did snap one day. And so it was great that, we had a backup. And if you don't have a backup, I'm pretty sure that Disney will give you one, or you can purchase one if you want. But definitely just at least have them as a backup. But I didn't need as many as I thought I was going to need. Okay, so you guys are interested in parks. So let's see, did you have to make a reservation in advance to go? Yes, absolutely. So you absolutely must make a park reservation before you go. A dining reservation in a park does not count, so you have to have a reservation for that park specifically. There's also no park hopping, so you can only go to one park per day. And again, you must have that reservation for that park. Let's see, what was your least favorite park to visit during this trip? Oh my gosh, it's so hard just because it was so great to be back, and I just, wanted to go to all of them. I got to go to all 4 parks, thankfully. Actually, going back to the reservation question, it was not hard to get a reservation at all. I'm an annual pass holder, and we also were staying in one of the resorts, so I'm sure that helped, but we didn't have any issues getting a theme park reservation. But my least favorite park to visit during this trip, I think surprisingly, it was Epcot. And that's only because there was obviously nothing wrong with the park. I didn't have any issues with people there or anything, but it's a food and wine festival, and it's one of my favorite festivals. And so the food was amazing, but I actually really love the crowds there. I don't love, eating on a trash can, but I love the crowds and just, I don't know, the hustle and bustle of it all. And Epcot was empty. I mean, I have never seen Epcot that empty, especially during food and wine. So I think that was surprising. You got to just sit at a table, which never happens. You don't have to eat on a trash can. And so, again, I loved being there. I loved the food, but I kind of missed the crowds at Epcot, especially during food and wine. So, let's see, you guys are wondering how were the so how were the ride queues managed, or were there any queues at all? So there were some queues. So there were probably maybe 10 to 15-minute waits in most of the rides. And that's just because, again, of social distancing. They were cleaning the rides. So the ride time, the wait times were very low, but there were still some wait times. There were definitely some walk-ons as well. But so the ride queues, there are markers every 6 feet that tell you exactly where to stand. And Disney is definitely getting ready for some big crowds because the, major attractions that we all know, so like Flight of Passage, Smuggler's Run, they have queue lines that just go throughout the entire park as if there are going to be thousands of people lined up as they normally are for these rides. So Disney is definitely expecting there to be more people, just seeing how they have their markers set. So there are markers again that you stand on, and everyone did a really good job of standing on their marker and not getting too close. Some people sort of missed it because there are more than 6 feet in between some of the markers, just because you are going back and forth. So it's kind of hard to explain, but so some people kind of miss their marker, and then you just kind of like laugh about it and then kind of move back. So everyone was perfectly fine about it. Didn't have any issues there. Let's see. Do we have to get to Hollywood Studios early for Rise of Resistance? Any Rise of Resistance tips? So yes. So Rise of Resistance, you do yes and no that you don't have to get there early for it. So yes, you have to get there early because you have to get into the park before the park opens if you are going to get into the first virtual line queue. So basically there are now two opportunities to get onto Rise of Resistance, one at 10 a.m. and one at 2 p.m. This might change, but as of today, it's 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. So you do want to make sure that you're at Hollywood Studios early, just to make sure that you get into the park, because there are lines for, security and then also temperature checks. It's nothing like it used to be in, December, January, February, but you do want to make sure that you're in the park before 10 a.m. So, maybe getting there I think we got there at 9:20, maybe 9:30 or so, and we still had maybe 10 minutes just to, be able to find a spot and, make sure that our phone was ready. So definitely not a long wait time to get in, but again, you just want to make sure that you're into the park at the time. And then let's see, Rise of Resistance tips. So yeah, it is so hard to get into these virtual lines, and the first and foremost, I think it is luck, but you do want to make sure that the app knows that you're in the park. So once you get into the park, I close out of the app and then I reopen it, just to make sure that the app sort of updates, knows that I'm in the park. So I do that. And then we tried at the 10 a.m. boarding group. So at 9:59, what we did was we closed the app again, refreshed it, so we opened it again. Then we went to the virtual queue page and we just started refreshing. So we just keep refreshing for literally a full minute until we see that join queue, button pop up. Again, click it as fast as you can, add whoever you need to, and then just cross your fingers. So we were actually super lucky and we got into boarding group 4. Unbelievable. But so last time I was on Rise of Resistance, I think I was in like boarding group 87 or something. I still got on the ride, but nothing like boarding group 4. So we had about 30 minutes into the day where, we were able to ride other rides and before we got called to ride Rise of Resistance. So that seemed to work. So again, 9:59, close out your app, refresh, go to the page, just keep refreshing until you see the join button, click it as fast as you can, and then just pray. So that's my Rise of Resistance tip. Let's see, another question. Was it weird that the parks were so empty? Yes. And again, yes and no, because one, I was just so happy to be there, and it's such a unique time for the park because you never get the castle by yourself. And so that in itself is exciting, right? And so you want to take the photos and you just really soak it in because there's no one there. It's so unique and interesting. But every once in a while, I talked to my husband and I was saying, it's a little eerie just because you know the reason why they're not there. It's not like it's a fluke, right? Like, oh wow, I just like, went to the park on a really good day and no one's here. It's, people are, scared of what's happening right now. People aren't traveling. People, just Disney is not top priority for so many. And, I was, I went sort of like back and forth between being excited to be there, but also just a little somber because I know the reason why the parks are so empty. And it's a very serious reason. And, I wish everyone to be healthy and happy. And I hope that everyone can get back to the magic. And I'm just so lucky that I was even able to go. So, yes, it is still magical. Yes, it is also still weird. So it's kind of both. Let's see, was everything open at regular hours and what restaurants did you go to? So not everything was open. Definitely check your app because I know that some places have opened more recently than others, and I'm sure that will continue on. So definitely check, if your favorite restaurant is open or not. But everything that we wanted to go to pretty much was open. So we went to, as far as a sit-down restaurant, we went to Skipper's Cantina, Oga's Cantina, The Wave in the Contemporary, Topolino Terrace, and Kappa at the Four Seasons. So those were the sit-down places we went to. And then in the parks, we mostly did just quick service. And I think that's another question here. Yeah, how do you order from quick service locations? So we mostly did quick service, and it's super easy. So you just get on your My Disney Experience app and you press the little plus button and you just click order food. And so you can select from all the different options that are there. You may even find an option that you didn't realize was open, and you select your items, you insert your credit card information, which you can save for all your purchases, which I do highly suggest because all of the locations are requiring mobile ordering. And then you just, again, pay and you pick up your food. So it was a little bit weird in the park because, so for example, we were picking up blue and green milk in Galaxy's Edge. And there was absolutely no line for the milks. The cast members were just standing there sort of waiting for people to buy the milks. And we walked right up to the counter and they were like, oh no, you have to mobile order. And so it was a little bit weird just because they're waiting for you to order, but you have to stand there, order on your phone, they get the order, and then they help you. So that was a little bit strange, but I mean, I get why they're doing it. They don't have to handle any cash, any money, and they're just able to hand you your food or your drink. So that's what's happening in the parks right now. A lot of it's all mobile ordering. So make sure that you have your profile set up and everything ready to go. Okay, so you guys are interested in hearing about how the Riviera was. Oh, it's now my favorite. So that's how it went. Okay, so, I love this. What's the stitch on the Riviera? So oh my gosh, it was my first time staying at the Riviera, and it has been my dream to stay there ever since it has opened. I absolutely love the theming there. It is so, so beautiful. And so we finally got the opportunity to go. The annual pass holder rate was really great. We decided to even upgrade our room. So we stayed in a 1-bedroom villa, and It was incredible. I don't know how to explain it even more than that. I actually have a room tour video, so you guys can check that out, but it was so beautiful. We have stayed in some amazing hotels. We've also stayed at the Four Seasons in Orlando on Disney property, and of course that one is amazing as well. Riviera is absolutely up there, and I wouldn't say it's not pretentious at all. It's not, you know, I don't know. It has such a welcoming vibe to it. Topolino's Terrace was so great. We did the character breakfast there. The food was amazing. All the guests were so excited to be there. The characters were great. So we had a really, really great experience at the Riviera. I highly suggest for anyone that's able to go and stay there to do so. There's also a question here about length of stay. Yeah, so did you stay for one night? Are they accepting one night reservations? So we did only stay for one night because we were there for an entire week and we couldn't afford a one bedroom villa for the entire week. But so we did just stay there for one night. But again, we decided to upgrade our room. And yeah, they are accepting one night reservations. We had no issues there. We didn't have to do anything special or call or anything. So yeah, they're accepting one night reservations. I highly suggest that you go and experience it. And even if you can't stay there, just go walk around. Just, I mean, check out the murals, check out the art that's there. They have a little lounge that you can sit in. There's, again, Topolino's Terrace, and there's a couple of like quick service restaurants as well. So just go check it out. It's beautiful. Just soak it all in. You'll love it. And okay, so finally, these are just like other fun questions. Oh, this one's good. Did your friends and family give you the side eye for going to Disney? Yes and no. So we live in San Francisco, but we have a bunch of friends and family that live in Orlando because that's where we're from. So San Francisco people did not get it at all. They thought we were absolutely crazy and they couldn't believe what we were doing. So yes, absolutely. Florida, my Orlando friends and family, no, they were just happy for, us to be there, and they wanted to come to the parks and they wanted to see us and have dinners and stuff. So yeah, they had no issues with it. They didn't even question why we were going, but San Francisco folks were definitely baffled. So, but I mean, that's okay. So we are quarantining now. So, making sure that we stay safe and we keep everyone else safe. And we knew that, going into it, that as soon as we got back, we would have our 14 days at home, which is why I'm making all these videos for you guys. Let's see. Was your husband just as thrilled to be back in the parks? Is he a Disney fan? So he is a Disney fan. He is a big Disney fan, and he was really excited to go. He actually hasn't been to the parks in like 10 years. He is a Disney fan, but he is not a crowds fan. So he hates being in crowds. He hates waiting in long lines. And so it's not like, the best situation for him. So he kind of avoids it. He avoids Disney theme parks. So this was absolutely perfect for him. Again, it was a little bit weird just because we knew why people weren't there, but it was a great opportunity for him to be able to go, get on Flight of Passage twice, just walk on. It's absolutely crazy. So he hadn't seen Toy Story Land. He hadn't seen Galaxy's Edge. He hasn't seen Pandora. I mean, just everything was brand new to him. So it was so much fun. When do you think shows and fireworks will restart? I have no idea. I wish I had an answer for that. I hope sooner than later, but yeah, I mean, I think just given the lack of people that are going to the parks and the resorts right now, I'm not entirely sure when it'll start back up. I think, time will tell. So I hope sooner than later. And have you received a resort upgrade? No, I haven't. So the resorts that we stayed at were pretty under capacity. We actually spoke to a bartender at the Contemporary, and he had mentioned that the hotel was at about 50% capacity. So there's definitely rooms to upgrade to. Whether or not, a cast member will do that for you or you decide to make that upgrade is up to you. Again, we were booked at the Riviera and we decided to upgrade our room ourselves to that 1-bedroom villa. So it was great that, there was that availability. I also didn't notice anyone in the rooms next to us, now that I think about it, in either of the resorts. So there was definitely some empty rooms. So if you are interested in a room upgrade, then I'm sure that could be arranged. But we did that ourselves rather than have a cast member do it. And that is pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for submitting all of your questions. I hope this was really helpful for you. If you have any other questions or, have any answers, if you've been to the parks, be sure to comment below. And again, I hope this was helpful, and reach out on Instagram or on here if you have any other questions for me. I'm happy to answer them. Make sure to like this video and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.